Hey, what's up everybody? BDL44 coming in with you with another video. Alright, so I got some pretty dang good news for the LA Lakers. In fact, it's pretty good news. Mo Bamba is now considered doubtful for tonight's game. It's been said that the Lakers are expecting to have him come back a bit early. 4 weeks ago, he was supposed to be reevaluated. I checked, that was the 9th. So today's the 4th. So we're a little early, about a week early so far. He could be back by the end of the week, which would put him at that date, basically. Is what also I've read. So anywhere between today, next game, next week, so one of these 4 games, he should be returning. So that is massive news for the Los Angeles Lakers for a plethora of reasons. One, because we've been complaining a lot about not having a center down there in place to kind of help us boost our roster with an actual full center. We've been getting away with Wenyen Gabriel playing phenomenal balls for us at the center position. We trust him at the center, but we know he's going to need some help there, being given the fact he's undersized and it's not going to be able to have the length to guard some of the guys that ultimately we may end up facing. If it comes down to it, I think Philadelphia could be on the other side of an NBA final matchup, and I'm not too far away from thinking that we're a contender. So I'm just looking down the road and saying I want to be ready for anything that possibly can come our way. I'm not saying Mo Bamba can guard Joel Embiid by any stretch of the imagination, but what I'm telling you is Anthony Davis with Mo Bamba, with Vanderbilt, with Wenyen Gabriel, with Hachimura, with Bron James as a collective, we can do a lot more than not having Bamba's length and all those players just the same. So Bamba's length is what you're counting on. Bamba's shooting ability is what you're counting on. Bamba's rebounding ability is what we're counting on. And that's ultimately what we're hopeful to have back for us very soon. So there is going to be an adjustment period to bringing him back. I don't know how coach wants to use him. We already have issues with the rotation, so that's going to be something that we have to figure out. We don't. That's the problem. We don't know how we're going to necessarily want to use Bamba. It's likely he might not get many minutes any dang way because that's how we were using him beforehand. But given the fact that we want to re-implement our piece back into the equation, there's going to be some expectations. Just in general, anytime you bring a player back, that there's going to be an adjustment for lineups and things of that nature and how they're used. But at the end of the day, Mo Bamba is a center who can definitely get us some easy buckets, offensive rebound, and of course rim protect with the longest arms recorded in today's NBA. So that is what I'm here to tell you guys. I'm very, very excited about Mo finally getting a chance to suit up for the Lakers once again. We haven't seen him play very much, maybe about 3 or 4 games at the most. That's a lot of times he had DMPs, but we hope that our coach will find a way to implement him into the equation for the playoffs, because I think his piece will most definitely be useful, if not necessary. So that's something that we're really excited about. And yeah, the game's about 3 hours away. I forgot to tell you guys what time the game starts, and I believe it starts at 5 o'clock, but I honestly would rather check before I'm confirming that. So be there or be square. The game is definitely going to be early because it's on the road. I think the game is at 5. So yeah, that's what I want to say, man. Mo Bamba is coming back. Mo Bamba is coming back, and that is great news with him being listed doubtful tonight. I don't necessarily expect to see him out there tonight. But the fact that he's not completely out gives you the understanding that there is some slight chance they may actually suit him up and put him out there. So doubtful means just that. In the meantime, we're just waiting at this point. I don't think there's anything really else to say. Of course, I encourage everyone to check out the video I made in regards to tonight's matchup against the Utah Jazz. There was one player that I did forget to mention while I'm here. I might as well tell you. Simone I don't know how to say his name, but his first name is Simone, and I think it's like Faracino or something of that nature. He's gotten some big minutes in their starting lineup as a shooting guard. Hasn't really had great games, to be honest with you. In the times that they've put him in the lineup starting, he's kind of been out, the odd man out in some of the games that I saw the stats that he played. But he did have some good games a couple of weeks back when the Utah Jazz were really rolling. I think a lot of what went well for them was having Kessler in the middle, being able to be reliable as an offensive rebounder, shot blocker, and somebody who could also score the ball. Removing that piece puts a lot more pressure on all of those players, and as a result, I think there's much more difficult for them to get their looks now that he's been removed from the lineup. So they do have pieces down there that you want to take a look at and pay attention to. You don't want to just assume that the Utah Jazz are just going to roll over and let you win. But all in all, if you take this game seriously, they shouldn't win. That's what it really comes down to. Anything can happen in a basketball game. A rolled ankle, a guy gets hot, bad calls, foul trouble. Anything can happen. So we don't expect that any game, any basketball game is just a surefire bet unless the matchups are crazy. You know what I mean? Unless it's basketball players of the NBA going up against me and my friends, and we can talk about guaranteed wins. But otherwise, since we're talking about this particular league, you just want to take everybody seriously. And you want to know who you're going against, and you want to respect everything that there is to respect. Me personally, I'm all about size. So the first thing I'm looking at is who's going to be down there in that way. Kelly Olynyk, Azubuike, and we're still wondering if Markkanen will give it a go. That's the thing. And that's really also something that I think really frustrates me, I guess, is not knowing what the other team is going to do, which is why I always say we should do the same. Leave players questionable so that they don't know who's going to be available. Tonight, as we assess the Utah Jazz, you don't know if Markkanen's going to play or not, which means you don't know if he's going to go for 40 or not. You don't know if they're going to have a piece that could literally get 3 blocks, 10, 15 rebounds. You know what I mean? He's an all-star this year. So you just expect that if he's down there, he'll be a massive contributor and ultimately will make life that much more difficult for us. But at the end of the day, I like Lauri Markkanen quite a bit, but he's going to have the game of his life to try to match what the Lakers are bringing to the table. And with that left hand being hurt, I don't expect that he's going to be the guy doing the most. But I do expect THT will do a lot. I do expect that Colin Sexton, if he's feeling good, will want to be aggressive. Chris Dunn, as I've mentioned earlier, is somebody I expect to play well tonight too. I know Chai Agbaji, even though he's been in a little bit of a slump, back when they were playing well, that 3 weeks ago stretch where they were really winning games, he was a big contributor and hitting multiple 3-point shots on a lot of attempts. So that's what I'm looking for tonight. It's just, for the Utah Jazz to step in and try to reacclimate who's going to be holding the ball for the last 4 games of the season. Is it going to continue to be THT, or are they going to give it to Colin Sexton and let him get into rhythm to close out the season? So the Utah Jazz, not many people are talking about hope in regards to the Utah Jazz playoff hopes. A lot of things are out of place in regards to them, but they are not mathematically out of this thing. And I think it's responsible for somebody to say that about the Jazz. I think they're bowing out. I don't think Clarkson's coming back for this season. I don't think it's been said that Kessler's concussion will likely keep him out for the season. So they probably are ready to bow out. But if for some reason the Lakers drop those 2 games against the Utah Jazz, we increase their chances of doing something special from this point right here. So we don't want to have any surprises. We certainly don't want to help the Utah Jazz perform miracles for themselves. We want to get into the playoffs without any play-in tournament so we can have a week of rest off between the series ahead. And then from there, have some secured home court just in case there are other upsets that may down the road have us in those matchups. For example, if for some reason we find ourselves in a situation where we're ahead of who we about to leapfrog right now if we win this, the Pelicans or something. Let's say the Pelicans win their first series and match up with us. Guess what we have? Home court advantage. Why? Because we got the 6th seed ahead of them. So that's the type of stuff I'm like, any seeding we can jump. If we can get to 5, let's get to 5. Because at the end of the day, we want to secure as much home court advantage as we can. With that being said, I really, really want our players to start feeling a lot more comfortable about playing at home. And I've said this a million times, and I don't know there's anything anybody can do about this, but I just hope that our guys can start feeling a lot more comfortable playing in this arena. Anxiety arena is what I call Crypto.com arena for the Lakers. I don't know how it is when the Clippers have the floor, and they will have the floor tomorrow, but it seems like when it's purple and gold floors, when the fans are going for the Lakers, our players, some of them, not everybody, but some of them clam up, man. Like they literally clam up, and I've been watching this all year long. 2 different sets of teams, same problem. So that's what I'm hoping we'll overcome. I don't want to have any situations where players are playing so great on the road and then they come to our building and they just don't have any confidence. I know it's a lot of pressure to win in purple and gold, but at the end of the day, you're a Laker. So let's take advantage of the fact that building's rooting for you when they are. But for the time being, we're on the road, so that doesn't apply. We're definitely going to be in Utah's arena. I'm curious to know what floor they're going to use, low-key. I really do like the alternate floors that the Utah Jazz have this season. The blue is real pretty to me, and the black is also I like what Utah's done. Even the yellow jerseys that were against Brooklyn, I thought were pretty solid. So yeah, I like the color scheme, the change that they've done while keeping that old blue that I used to love from the Jazz as well. So curious to see what floor they'll use. They usually do pretty good about their color schemes, in my humble opinion. So yeah, that's what I got to say, man. And that's a far cry from where it was when they were wearing green, by the way. I remember that little stretch was green and yellow note. I didn't really love that too much, but the majority of the time, sky blue and all that stuff, they're pretty good about that. So yeah, that's what I got to say, man. Utah Jazz and the LA Lakers. I'm wondering, since we're talking about the Jazz, if Jordan Clarkson's future is in Utah. That's what I'm wondering as I sit there and watch him on the sidelines. I don't know that he's not hurt. He probably is hurt. But I know a guy like Jordan Clarkson at this stage in his career wants to be playing for some playoffs right now. I know that. He wants to be playing for something. I don't need to talk to him. I don't need to look in his direction to know where his head's at. He's not happy. He wants to be playing for something. I know that. But he might be injured, so that might not be relevant. But when you look at players like Dame Lillard, you look at players like Jordan Clarkson, you could see them on the move. They ain't going to have too many more seasons like this where they're not playing for anything or have to be shut down before the season is because there's no playoffs. I know that, that's a different conversation in regards to Dame Lillard, but I think it's relevant, man. Same thing with Luka Doncic. I think that's the era we're in. We could be seeing some unprecedented moving this offseason because a team like the Lakers made one trade and went from the dumps to being a championship contender. And if I'm one of those teams, I'm looking around saying we could have made that trade. We could have got us a Vanderbilt and D'Angelo Russell. You know what I'm saying? So these are the type of things that you just wonder if some of these players are up for what these organizations are going to have to do to get them to that point. Because a lot of these teams, in my humble opinion, it's going to have to get worse before it gets better. And with other teams building around them such special young cores, it can be a long time before some of these teams win anything, depending on how things shake up going forward. You look at what Detroit's putting together, Orlando's putting together, Cleveland's putting together, all these different teams, Sacramento. It could be a long time before a team like the Timberwolves get off the ground if they don't make it right now. It could be a long time before Brooklyn Nets put something together that could really be really good. But player movement can make things change really quickly. So we'll see what happens, man. That's pretty much my thought. I think the Lakers are in the best spot they could possibly be in so long as Anthony Davis and LeBron James are healthy. One thing that I do want to mention is that LeBron James, from what I just heard, is putting off possible surgery on that foot. He's giving it a go, and from what I understand, he's at risk for it being re-injured while we're running around out here. I appreciate that gesture from him. I think it goes a long way. I don't think he has. I don't think he's in the wrong in regards to doing that because he's in year 20. So, risking it all is pretty much saying, well, if it goes left, we'll just retire here. And I respect that. The risk is worth it because you don't know how many more seasons, even if you don't risk it, you have surgery, come back. What are you in year 21? What's the team looking like? Will you have a good chance as this team does right now? And the answer is unclear, but you know that some of these guys are going to be getting paid, which means it's going to change this roster. So whatever the case may be, we're not going to have everybody on the same pay rate, and because of it, some of our depth is likely to dissipate just by default. So we know that this is the best chance we got to win a championship probably since the 2020 bubble. The West is pretty weak. The East has a couple teams over there, but nobody that really scares us too much. We think we can win the championship if we can rotate properly, and just basically continue to do what we've been doing these last 3 weeks. To be honest with you, we play this kind of ball, and everybody's healthy. We like ourselves in most series. So that's really what it comes down to. I think we much rather see the field and the field would rather see us. I think that's just what it is. So at this point, we just got to stay healthy. Like I said, get Mo back out here, not have any setbacks with Bron because that's very important. Even though we're a very good team, we cannot win a championship without the King. I'm telling you that right now. It's not happening. But with him healthy, everybody healthy, obviously AD healthy, hey, man, I think we got a little more than a puncher's chance, to be honest with you. I think we got a little more than a puncher's chance at getting out of the Western Conference and facing Boston or Milwaukee or Philly, New York, whoever's out there, whoever comes out. And I'm telling you, I'm not giving up on the New York Knicks. I know a lot of people saying Knicks don't have a chance. I'm like, I see something in that team with their depth. I see something over there. Now, I don't know if they're going to be able to overcome some of the stuff that ultimately will come their way. But as far as them being a contender out east, yeah, they got a good chance as the Sacramento Kings coming out west, in my opinion. They're about as good as the Kings. That's exactly how I see the Knicks. They're as good as the Kings. So I'm putting them up there. Either way, ain't nobody out west really scare me, man. Memphis is starting to slide, although I don't know if that'll translate into them sliding in the playoffs. I think their depth is a little bit pulled away, and I'm not sure what's going on with Steven Adams. I don't think they can win any real dominant series without Steven Adams. I think that piece, coupled with Brandon Clark being gone, could really be the end for the Memphis Grizzlies, even though they look so strong. Not necessarily as strong as they need to beat some of these teams out here, especially if they continue to run into them. You got a difficult path. Memphis is going to have a hard time. So that's what I'm saying. Like, the confidence over here is pretty high. Obviously, we got a back-to-back to address right now. If we drop both of these back-to-backs, it all goes upside down. People are going to be talking about we suck. We're going to be talking about how bad our coach is and how we can't win the series because of him. That's really what it's going to be. I know how that goes. That's exactly how that goes. If we drop these games, it's going to be like, oh, he's not going to put the right people on the floor. He's stupid and all this other stuff. It's going to take away our confidence. So I don't expect any of that, but that's how this kind of goes. It just teeters on how well the team is doing at the moment, and we know that. But overall, we zoom out and we love the roster, and we look at what we've just done over the last 2 weeks, and we respect that those are wins that we've earned. A lot of them on the road. So that is something that is noteworthy, and I think our road success is poised to continue with this Utah Jazz game tonight if we approach it the right way. So that's pretty much what I got to say, man. I thank everybody for rocking with BDL 44, and of course, I have something at the end of the game as well as at halftime. Peace.